Motivation is not coming to save you. That's the first truth you need to face. You sit there waiting for the spark, the perfect mood, the burst of energy that will finally push you into action. But here's the slap of reality. Waiting for motivation is why you're stuck. Think about how many times you've said, "I just need to feel motivated." And then nothing. Another day gone, another opportunity wasted, another excuse added to the pile. If your life depends on motivation, you've already lost. Because motivation isn't a fuel tank you refill, it's a byproduct of action. It doesn't appear first, it appears second. You don't get motivated to move. You move and then you feel motivated. That's why you're failing. You've been begging for the reward before doing the work. Here's shocking truth number one. Motivation is emotional sugar. It spikes, it feels good for a moment, and then it crashes. That's why you can watch a motivational video, feel unstoppable for 20 minutes, and still do nothing. Your brain treats motivation like a dopamine hit. Nice in the moment, useless in the long run. Shocking truth number two. Discipline outlasts motivation. Always. Look at anyone who's built a body, a business, or a relationship worth having. They didn't wake up every day buzzing with energy. They woke up tired, bored, uninspired, and they did it anyway. That's why they're successful and you're not, because they stopped relying on feelings and built their life on standards. Here's the problem. You confuse feelings with truth. You think, "I don't feel motivated, therefore I can't act." Wrong. Feelings are unreliable narrators. They'll tell you to eat junk when you're stressed. They'll tell you to stay in bed when you need to rise. They'll tell you to settle when you're meant to grow. If you keep obeying your feelings, you'll keep building a weak, mediocre life. Now let's connect this to attraction dynamics, because motivation isn't just about productivity, it's about how you show up in relationships. You think your partner, your friends, your colleagues respect your words? They don't. They respect your consistency. They respect the days you show up when you didn't feel like it. That's what builds trust. That's what creates magnetism. Nobody is inspired by someone who only works when it's easy. People are drawn to those who move forward despite resistance. Here's the harshest truth. You don't have a motivation problem. You have a comfort addiction. You're not lazy because you lack inspiration. You're lazy because you're drowning in cheap comfort. The couch, the phone, the food, the endless distractions. They've trained your brain to expect life to be easy. So when real effort shows up, you recoil. Not because you're incapable, but because you're addicted to ease. So what's the takeaway? Stop asking for motivation. Stop waiting for it. Stop worshiping it like it's the secret key to success. It's not. The key is momentum. Motivation follows momentum, not the other way around. You don't find it. You manufacture it daily. How? Start small, stupidly small. Do one push-up, write one sentence, read one page. Doesn't matter what it is. The goal is not progress. The goal is proof. Proof to your brain that you're capable of moving without the permission of your feelings. Because once you move, momentum builds. And once momentum builds, motivation finally shows up like an obedient servant, not a missing master. Let's be brutally honest. The reason your life hasn't changed isn't because you lack motivation. It's because you've refused to move without it. You've given motivation all the power, and it's betrayed you every single time. So here's your first mindset shift. Stop asking, "How do I get motivated?" Start asking, "How do I create momentum right now?" Because momentum is real. Momentum is tangible. And momentum, not motivation, is what transforms your life. Final slap of truth for this section. Motivation is a liar. Stop begging for it. Start creating it. Your future doesn't care how you feel. It only cares what you do. Let me make this crystal clear. You don't need more motivation. You need more proof. Proof that you can act without waiting for the perfect mood. Proof that you can keep promises to yourself even when your feelings scream no. Proof that you're stronger than your excuses. Motivation doesn't build that proof. Action does. Here's where most people screw themselves over. They think motivation comes before discipline. They think they need to feel ready before they move. That's backwards. Discipline comes first. Motivation comes later. The strongest people you know don't wake up fired up every day. They wake up, do the thing anyway, and then motivation follows as a reward. Shocking truth number 3. Your lack of motivation is manufactured. Just like processed food is engineered to keep you hooked, modern life is engineered to keep you weak. Social media feeds you instant dopamine so real work feels unbearable. Streaming platforms sedate you so discomfort feels like torture. Notifications pull your attention so focus feels impossible. You're not unmotivated by nature, you're overstimulated by design. Shocking truth number 4. Your identity is being stolen by your excuses. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you're training your brain to believe you're unreliable. Every time you wait for motivation, you reinforce the story that you can't act on your own. Over time, that story hardens into identity. You stop saying, "I feel lazy," and start saying, "I am lazy." That's not true. It's programming, and you're obeying it. Let's cut deeper. This doesn't just affect your productivity. It poisons your relationships. Attraction isn't built on words. It's built on consistency. Nobody is drawn to someone who only shows up when it's easy. Partners don't respect excuses. Friends don't admire inaction. Leaders don't follow the unmotivated. You think people don't notice, but they do. They can feel when your life is stagnant. They can feel when you keep promising change and never deliver. And nothing kills trust or attraction faster than that. Here's the pivot. Stop begging for motivation, start building momentum. And momentum is built through self-discipline, not feelings. You don't have to start big, you have to start undeniable. Try this. Tomorrow morning, don't negotiate with your alarm. Get up the moment it rings. That single act proves to your brain that you're in control. Or go do a single push-up the moment you feel the urge to skip your workout. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that you acted. That tiny win builds momentum, and momentum compounds. The problem is you keep overcomplicating it. You think you need a grand plan, a perfect schedule, endless motivation. No, you need friction. You need to move before your brain talks you out of it. Because the longer you wait, the louder your excuses get. Here's the mindset shift. Stop aiming for motivation. Start aiming for movement. Movement creates energy. Energy creates clarity. Clarity creates motivation. That's the chain, but it starts with movement. And let's be raw here. If you can't control the small movements, forget about the big goals. You can't build a business if you can't get out of bed on time. You can't master a craft if you can't put your phone down for 30 minutes. You can't earn respect if you can't keep the promises you make to yourself. Stop fantasizing about the finish line while you keep tripping at the starting line. Here's a brutal but freeing truth. Motivation is not coming. It was never supposed to. Waiting for it is like waiting for someone else to live your life for you. Nobody's coming. The Calvary is not arriving. The only person who can save you is the one in the mirror. And that person doesn't need motivation. They need movement. So here's your takeaway for this section. Make action your default, not your reward. Don't move when you feel like it. Move because that's who you are now. Build an identity around action, not excuses. The more you act, the more motivation you create, not the other way around. Final slap of truth. Motivation is borrowed, but discipline is owned. And if you don't own your actions, someone else will own your life.
Here's the truth you keep running from. You don't need motivation. You need standards. Motivation is a mood. Standards are identity. Motivation is fragile. Standards are unshakable. If you keep living by moods, your life will be unstable forever. 1 day of energy, 3 days of excuses. A flash of progress, a collapse back into comfort. That's the cycle you're stuck in. And the only way out is to raise your standards. Shocking truth number 5. Your standards are embarrassingly low. That's why you keep settling for average relationships, average habits, average results. You're willing to accept mediocrity from yourself, and so you get mediocrity everywhere. You don't miss the gym because you lack motivation. You miss it because your standard allows it. You don't waste hours scrolling because you lack motivation. You waste them because your standard tolerates it. Shocking truth number 6. The life you want isn't built on motivation. It's built on proof. Proof that you can wake up when you say you will. Proof that you can finish what you start. Proof that you can act even when nobody's watching. Every action is a vote for your future self. The problem is, most of your votes are going toward the lazy, distracted version of you, and then you wonder why that's who you keep becoming. Let's connect this to relationships, because attraction always exposes the truth. Do you know why some people are magnetic while others are invisible? It's not looks, it's not charm, it's consistency. People can feel it when you live by higher standards. They can sense when you don't fold under pressure. That's what inspires respect, trust, and desire. Nobody is drawn to the person who only moves when they feel like it. That's not strength. That's weakness dressed as humanity. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop chasing motivation and start building identity. Motivation says, I hope I feel ready tomorrow. Identity says, this is who I am, so this is what I do. See the difference? One is temporary. The other is permanent. Want to know the secret to never worrying about motivation again? Define yourself as the kind of person who acts regardless of feelings. Don't call yourself motivated. Call yourself disciplined. Don't say, I hope I stick with it. Say, I am the type of person who follows through. That identity, repeated through action, kills the need for motivation forever. Here's the hard pill. If you're waiting to feel motivated, you're already behind. Successful people aren't ahead of you because they had motivation. They're ahead because they built lives where motivation isn't required. They've trained themselves to act without asking their feelings for permission. That's why they win. That's why they keep winning. So here's your call to action. Stop begging for motivation. Start stacking proof. Start raising standards. Start acting before your brain can negotiate. Because the more you act, the more you rewire your brain. You stop associating action with struggle. You start associating it with identity. And once that clicks, motivation becomes irrelevant. Final slap of truth. Your future doesn't care if you're motivated. It only cares if you're consistent. And consistency isn't built by feelings. It's built by standards. So raise yours today, right now. Stop begging for motivation. Start creating it. Stop waiting for the spark. Start becoming the fire.